Welcome back, Focus Learners, to Decode Healthcare with Harshal. I'm Harshal, and we are diving right into Part 17 of our Explainer series. Now, in Part 16, we locked down the foundational mechanics, how to actually locate a code using the alphabetic index and the tabular list. But today we have a highly specific, high-stakes mission. We're cracking open the CMS ICD-10-CM official guidelines and shining a massive spotlight on Section IB2. We are going to unpack the absolute non-negotiable requirement for the highest level of detail in your coding. The goal here is simple. We want to ensure your claims never, ever get kicked back for being incomplete. So let me hook you right off the bat with a serious operational question. What is the number one reason an ICD-10 claim gets flagged as completely invalid by a clearinghouse? Is it a lack of medical necessity, a mismatched provider NPI? Well, while those are certainly issues, the most immediate algorithm-driven rejection happens because of a single, unbending rule from the official guidelines regarding the structure of the code itself. If you leave just one digit off, boom, the entire claim crashes into a brick wall. All right, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for mastering Section IB2 today. We'll hit the compliance mandate, the specificity scale, the anatomy of an expanding code, the invalid code trap, and then wrap it all up with the golden rule. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the compliance mandates. The guidelines literally state, a code is invalid if it has not been coded to the full number of characters required for that code, including the 7th character if applicable. We're pulling this straight from the highest statutory authority, CMS, Section IB2. Notice that word invalid. It doesn't say suboptimal. It doesn't say kinda inaccurate. It says invalid. When it comes to code structure, this mandate strictly overrides everything else. Truncating a code, basically cutting it short just because it's easier or you're in a rush, is an automatic compliance failure. You see, level of detail in coding isn't merely a polite suggestion from a friendly auditor. It's the absolute operational reality of how the ICD-10-CM classification system functions. You are legally required under HIPAA to report diagnosis codes at their highest number of available characters, matching the highest level of specificity documented in that patient's medical record. Period. Moving right along to Section 2, the specificity scale. Think of the ICD-10-CM code set as a giant staircase that you are literally required to climb. As you move up, the code becomes more precise. Step 1 is your broad 3-character category. Step 2 requires a 4-character subcategory. And Step 3 takes you all the way up to 5, 6, or even 7 characters. Here's the vital takeaway. You can only use a 3-character code if that category has absolutely no further subdivisions available in the tabular list. If a category has been subdivided down to 5 or 6 characters and you try to submit the 3-character version, you've essentially fallen down the stairs. It's an instant denial. Let's move into Section 3, Anatomy of an Expanding Code. This brilliantly illustrates the difference between stopping halfway and coding to the max. Take a look here. On one side, we have M25.5, which just broadly means pain in joint. But on the other side, we have M25.511, which specifically means pain in the right shoulder. That right there is a highly specific clinical picture that prevents claim rejections. Let's actually build that out character by character. We start with M25, the broad category for a joint disorder. We add a digit, and we get M25.5, the subcategory for pain in a joint. Add another digit, M25.51, and we've added the anatomical site, the shoulder. Add that final digit, M25.511, and we hit maximum specificity by identifying the exact laterality, the right shoulder. Every single added character brings crucial clinical context. It's simple math. More characters equal more context, which equals fewer denials. And that brings us to Section 4, the invalid code trap, or as I like to call it, the billing blocker. So what happens when coders stop halfway down that specificity scale? You get a truncated or invalid code. This is a code that lacks the full number of available characters provided in the tabular list. Leaving digits on the table means the code is structurally broken according to CMS guidelines. It honestly doesn't matter if the medical care was completely flawless. If the data string you sent is too short, it's instantly unreportable. What's really fascinating about this rule is that even empty spaces matter in coding. The guidelines specifically point out that if a code requires a 7th character for an encounter type, like initial, subsequent, or sequela, but the base code isn't 6 characters long yet, you're required to use the placeholder X to fill the empty spots. sending a T code for an adverse effect without using the placeholder X to push that final character into the 7th position, that's incorrect, and it will absolutely trap your claim. The domino effect of this trap is just brutal. If you truncate, you fail Section IB2 compliance. You erase critical clinical data. The entire code is rendered invalid. And here is the real kicker. Front-end scrubbing systems at the clearinghouse level use automated algorithms that immediately reject truncated codes. The insurance company's digital gate slams shut with a giant red error message. They will reject the claim before a human being ever even looks at it for medical necessity, because no one cares how necessary the treatment was if the statutory format of the code itself is flawed. Finally, Section 5, the golden rule. 7. 7 is the magic number. It represents the maximum potential length of an ICD-10 CM code. Whenever you're looking in the tabular list, your eyes should automatically be scanning to see if a 5th, 6th, or 7th character is required to make that code complete. Which leads us to our rallying cry. Don't stop halfway. Code to the max. Always, always push to the highest level of specificity documented in the medical record. Be the coder who climbs all the way to the top of that specificity staircase to secure a clean claim and capture the complete clinical picture. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Look at your recent claims. Are you leaving crucial digits on the table, or are you coding to the absolute max? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today for this deep dive into Section IB2. If this explainer helped you decode the guidelines, do me a huge favor. Subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your coding study groups. Next time, in Part 18, we're going to tackle Section IB3, taking a grand overview of the entire code range spanning from A00.0 all the way to U85, and the basic rules governing how those chapters are laid out. Until then, keep coding with maximum detail.